All right, Zubin, time to warm up the tires. We're looking ahead now to 2026. I'm really excited about this. We have a couple of predictions. I think we have nearly 10 predictions. And I want to ask why. Alternative service, I'm going to serve first, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so prediction number 1. Google and Huawei build the CUDA Killer. Why? Everyone is paying the Nvidia tax, but Google has the TPUs and Huawei the Ascend chips. Huawei has been working incredibly hard on efficient compute since the chip war began. I predict they will either build their own stack or, in a twist, leverage Google's open stack that it creates, just like it did once with Android. The duopoly of non-Nvidia compute arrives.
Aman, that's like almost a geopolitical earthquake, right? All right, prediction number 2, the mega merger. And we've debated this quite a bit offline. And I like this one, right? This is JP Morgan buys Nubank. Why, you ask? Jamie Dimon has one regret from his days at Citi. He never built a true global retail bank. Citi had the map, but the operations were too heavy. Nubank has the global retail scale, like we talked, 127 million users, and with a tech stack that actually works. Our prediction, JPMC buys Nubank, Diamond gets his global legacy, and JPMC becomes the world's first true AI-native global bank.
And Zubin, I think that could cause a ripple effect. It fires the starting gun. HSBC then goes and buys a Monzo or a Starling to fix their tech stack. And we even see reverse mergers where large neobanks buy small traditional banks just for their licenses and local compliance. The hunters become the hunted as well.
Let's move on. Prediction number 3. And we touched on this in our interchange Visa Mastercard episode. I think we covered this on stablecoin episode as well, which was Visa and Mastercard settle on chain. Why? They essentially see the writing on the wall with Circle and others. They stop really fighting stable coins and co-opt them. And we've already seen this, right? Visa has announced native USDC settlement for corporate cards. We, again, referring back to the new interchange we talked about in episode 6, this ties back to that.
We need a patent new interchange and sell that and retire. You heard it here first. Okay, prediction number 4. This is one about how do we put it? OpenAI, it's a bit spicy. OpenAI and Microsoft file for divorce.
Ooh.
Why? The tension is unsustainable. Microsoft realizes that they are funding a competitor. OpenAI realizes that they can't get to AGI while being tethered to a corporate overlord. And they restructured, it's an amicable divorce. They restructure the deal into a loose arm's length partnership, sort of like a polyamorous arrangement.
This kind of
another
makes
one
sense.
of our favorite words from this year.
It is. We've learned some new words off through these episodes. But Aman, that kind of goes back to our early part of our episode talking about OpenAI, the winner and the loser. The tech is there. The corporate structure needs to change. All right. Prediction number 5. Honestly, Aman, I was really bullish on this, but the more I've been spending time thinking about it, I think this prediction is going to come true. The Jony Ive and the Sam Altman hardware baby bombs. Why, you ask? We finally see the device, and honestly, it makes the Apple Vision Pro look like a commercial success. And it turns out that melding hardware and software into a magical object is infinitely harder than Steve Jobs makes me look. Looks beautiful, but a paperweight.
I hope you're wrong, Zubin, but I fear you're right. Okay, prediction number 6. Quantum breaks encryption. The Q-Day scare arrives. The why on this is we get the first verified instance of a quantum computer cracking standard encryption. It triggers a massive panic upgrade globally, a cycle to quantum-safe cryptography in banking. I can so see this happening, Zubin.
And we touched on this, Aman, as well. I think there is We've been talking about this a lot. Given the speed at which AI is developing, especially on the Gen AI side, we're not too far from this happening. And, while I want to believe this is not in 2026, very high likelihood that it.
Yeah, and we one of the things we didn't talk about we should talk about more next year is the involvement of state actors in compute, right? So this could be a sort of, it's quite worrying if it's a state-led quantum act as opposed to sort of just a bunch of really well funded hackers.
Pirates. Prediction number 7: agents get a license. Why, you ask? Agentic commerce, there's a lot of questions. Right now, it's sort of also has a block by law. The regulation hasn't really kept up. Regulators create, we would argue, a specific license for autonomous AI agents to legally hold money, sign contracts, and do other commerce-related actions. So, yeah, I actually think the regulators are going to get a little more involved in this.
I think you're onto something there. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that's interesting. Prediction number 8. Compute nationalism. This is kind of related to the earlier point I was making. Yeah. GPU clusters are the new oil reserves. Nations stop hoarding gold and start hoarding H100s. We see a sovereign nation announce a computer cluster larger than Meta or Google, and I suspect that'll come from the Middle East or China.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. It is the new gold. That is where the money is right now. All right. Prediction number 9, we're getting close to the end. AI enters real F1. You ask why? Because human strategies are too slow. A team wins the world championship explicitly because they let an AI make the race strategy calls.
Interesting. Okay, and finally, are you ready for this, Zubin? Prediction number 10. A2Z FinTech gets a hostile takeover. Why? Ben and David from Acquired FM, our favorite and inspired program, they try to buy us out. They offer us a Standard Oil valuation to join their empire, Zubin.
Why would they do this, Aman?
Well, I'll tell you, wrong question. You should say, what do we do?
What do we do? What do we do? All right, we've got it off of the table. You and me are. Should we take this, Aman?
No, we politely decline. We can't scale the pursuit of non-obvious insight, Zubin, if we're too busy counting all this acquired cash that we've made. We stay independent all of next year, power to the people.
All right, 10 predictions. Love it.
So you've heard it here. All those 10 are going to come right. I'm sure of it. And we'll keep us honest through the year.
Number 10 specifically. I love it.
So Zubin, looking at 2025, looking back at 2025, it proved something simple. Speed matters, but reliability wins. Infrastructure outlasts hype. And every company, from Silicon Valley to Singapore, is now essentially an F1 team. Technology is the power unit. People are the drivers. Governance is aerodynamics. And capital, that's the fuel. So the question for 2026 isn't who is the fastest, it is who can finish the race, Zubin.
Love it. And so that's it for season 1. Thank you for an incredible ride. Subscribe, share the show, and may all your upgrades be FIA compliant.
See you in season 2. Lights out.